Yo, what's good guys? Welcome back for devlog 5. Technically devlog 59, but because I can't decide on what kinds of titles or thumbnails to use or even what kinds of videos to make, this would be number 5 of the current iteration. Well, technically number 1 since I just changed it again. Anyway, if you're joining for the first time, basically I'm making the greatest game of all time, so let's go ahead and take a look at what I worked on this week. I worked on a lot of technical stuff this week, making sure that all of your dialogue, reward, and item choices are properly saved and tracked, fixing a ton of minor bugs related to UI stuff and character animations, particularly dealing with lots of complexities in transitions between character animations and characters moving their heads around to look at each other, and I implemented an even more complex system for the way characters decide on who to look at during conversations, which adds a nice touch of detail. I finished polishing this traveling narrative scene. I'm mostly happy with it, it looks nice. The only thing I'm still wondering about is these big leafy green trees in particular. I think the black shadow on the edges makes them stick out in a weird kind of way, so I'm gonna try removing that this week to see if it looks better. I also polished up the opening scene at Jones's bar and gave it the same aesthetic treatment that I gave to the prologue level. I made sure to make Spike bark at you aggressively as you enter the bar, as he should be. And finally, I polished up the reward screen. Jones's bar is where you'll be making your decisions on which upgrades you want to take with you. My current idea for the design is that you'll always be choosing between either a new item type and/or upgrade, or a passive upgrade for your character, such as a boost to your movement speed, a reduction in your dash cooldown, things like that. And I think I'm going to represent those with unique drinks, kind of like an Ocho. The idea is that you'll be choosing between a style that emphasizes the use of powerful items to give you an advantage, or a style that emphasizes your natural movement and abilities. I'm designing the game so that everything is beatable with nothing more than your standard abilities, and the items are there to help maximize your score, give you an advantage in fights that you're having a hard time with, and to give you another option when you make a mistake and you're defenseless while waiting for the cooldowns to wear off. And on the art side, I'm happy to introduce the game's second samurai boss. He's one of the two antagonists for the game's second act, Damien. Damien is Jones's younger brother and the leader of the crew that controls the island city of Hikario. He's also well known for his unusual style of dual-wielding katanas. We have one last character to add to the roster for the second act, the other samurai boss and Damien's partner and questionable romantic interest. More on that to come next week. Now you might be asking yourself, how can this be the greatest game ever made when Solidio's first game, The Life of a Magical Circle, is the greatest game ever made? Good question. You see, the way that this works is right now The Life of a Magical Circle is the greatest game ever made, but once I complete and release this game, Six Samurai, it will supersede that as the greatest game ever made, and this pattern will continue with each game that I make, so that by the time my career is finished, the top 10 greatest games ever made will be a chronologically ordered list of all of the games that I made. And now I would like to congratulate you for clicking on this video. Clearly you are a person of foresight, and you are able to recognize greatness when it is sitting before you. I'm glad to have you aboard, joining me on this journey in which I will be making video game history right before your very eyes. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you here again next week. Peace.